Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So we are covering this series 1995 World Chess Championship between Viswanathan Anand and Garry Kasparov. In the previous game 9, Anand breaks the deadlock and wins the first game of the tournament, first decisive game, and Anand wins with the white pieces. So now in this game 10, Anand is playing with the black pieces and Garry is playing with the white pieces. So without further ado, let's get started. Here Garry opens with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and b5. So they go for this Ruy Lopez system. A6 attacking the bishop, bishop a4, bishop back to a4, knight f6, and kingside castle by Garry, putting king in the safer square. Knight cross e4 and d4 attacking in the center. b5 attacking the bishop, bishop back to b3 and d5. D cross e5. d5 also supports this knight, so this knight's become a very powerful knight over here. Bishop e6 protecting, adding extra defense to this e5 pawn, d5 pawn. Knight b to d2, trying to exchange this knight, but knight back to c5, c3 and d4. Knight g5 and d cross c3. I guess this idea over here was the first inaccuracy of this game by Viswanathan Anand, because you can't allow this strong bishop to get extended, and this also create lot of weak squares around your king. So in the game after d cross c3, Garry just takes his knight cross e6 and you have to take back this f cross e6. But see, this creates, I think, a weakness for the black king, and they played this game in the game 6 also. They went with this line, this exact same line, and in that game they in that game also I will show you, but let's continue right now. Here first b cross c3 and queen d3. I guess this is also a slight inaccuracy, because the king position is not that strong over here, and bringing the queen out is kind of risking it. But let's see. So in the previous game 6, the he went with Kasparov went with this knight f3 idea, trying to protect this pawn and developing his knight, trying to exchange queen. But in this game Garry finds even a better idea. Garry and his team finds a better idea, and that was bishop c2. Amazing idea. Now you are this was a strong bishop over here, and you can't let that get exchanged with this knight. So this move saves the bishop from knight and also attacks the queen. Amazing move and a novelty right at this point. So now I guess kind of this queen is kind of little bit misplaced, as there are not very much good moves for this queen. But here he has to go for this pawn idea, and thus queen cross c3, because what else do you play? If you go back, then it's lose of a tempo way too much. So queen cross c3, very risky maneuver. You are kind of attacking this rook, but at this point this rook is not very much important, but as the black king's safety is not that good. So let's go further. Knight b3. So as you can see in this position, this knight was little bit strong of Vichy's, and this knight is not that strong. So Garry puts this knight over b3 and tries to exchange this knight, and I think Garry has to go for it because there are no such other good moves in this position. Knight cross b3 and bishop cross b3. Now this bishop becomes even more powerful without this knight. An amazing idea by Garry to save this bishop, bringing the knight over here, trying to exchange this knight, and this now this becomes a monster bishop. And as you can see right now, Vichy is a pawn up, but you don't feel like a pawn up position. Knight d4, you have to protect this pawn. Queen a1, attacking this pawn also, and opening up the rook, opening up the bishop. Lot of great threats coming on Vichy's side. And I guess here there are no good moves for Vichy. You kind of have to go for this line, very dangerous line. What else do you play? You can't play something like this also. Bishop e7. Then maybe it's just simply he can play something like this also. Even this also, trying to attack this knight, removing defender of this pawn. I guess this rook is also a good idea, but engine is not showing that much of advantage over here, but this is also a very crushing move. So in the game, Vichy goes with this risky line and trying to hope that if he can defend this position, then he will be a rook up, or he could get in a good position also. So queen cross a1 and bishop cross e6. Now you can't take this bishop because just this queen gets infiltrated. Queen infiltrates your king, and this move is even worse because of this rook d1 move. It's a mate in 3, and yeah, here something like this is also playable. If you have to defend it, for an example, this is also something like this also, just to see. Yeah, so you can't take this bishop over here because of this queen just get inflated, and the pawn move which you made early is not good over here because the king is in the center. So here Vichy goes for the best move possible, rook d8, protecting this knight, and maybe trying to brings rook over here, not over here, but something else also if he gets the chance. And which Garry finds another brilliance with this bishop h6 move, another brilliant move by Garry. You can't take this bishop because you can pause this video if you like, but just simply queen h5, king here and king here, checkmate into. And your queen is also attacked, so you can't play something else also here because then your queen is also attacked, you are getting mated also. Something like this also not possible. So queen c3, bringing queen away from the attack of this rook. Here engine also suggests this move, but I guess even this is not, just same ideas goes by. You just whatever move, then it's mate here, and these bishops become very powerful over here. So Gary Vichy goes with queen c3, and just simply bishop cross g7. You can't take that bishop, and here Vichy finds the best move possible, queen d3, and you kind of have to give up this rook, because that's the only way you can try to hold on this game or what. And here this amazing idea of queen c3, because if you go here, then this idea wouldn't have been that possible. Maybe possible something like this also, but it's just different on computer evolution, but both are pretty great ideas and the only idea in the position. So bishop cross g7 and queen d3, bishop cross h8 and queen g6. You kind of have to exchange this queen, and here Gary first doesn't just take away, exchange the queen, and I think this could have this could have ended if he would have gotten this way. Then this would have given chance to equalize Vichy, but Gary is also, you can't take Gary and think that he would play something like this. So he's a world champion for a reason. So bishop f6, first bishop f6, trying to protect this bishop also, and kind to keep the king in the center, making this amazing net. And bishop e6, which is not also hurrying that much, that if he takes it, then kind of it's equal, but he is developing a move and trying to activate his king. Okay, so bishop e7, bishop cross e7 and queen cross g4. Now first you can't take this bishop, because maybe this queen h6 check, and you lose this rook. Yeah, and if you play something else, then you end up in even worse situation. Bishop g4, yeah. So queen cross g4, bishop cross g4, and king cross e7. And here if you count the material, then it's kind of equal. Even after this much of difficult moves, Vichy finds this difficult defense, and if you see, then it's bishop, rook, and you are just a pawn up. So the game could get in anyway, but also Vichy is a Gary's amazing player, so it would be difficult for Vichy to equalize this game or draw this game. Rook c1, attacking this weak pawn c6, protecting by this knight f4, a5, pushing this pawn because nothing else is on the card. You kind of have to go for this idea. King f2, a4, king a3, putting pressure on the knight, bringing the rook over here, b4, and bishop back to d1. Maybe this idea you can just yeah, this idea doesn't work because of knight c2 check, and you are losing your rook. Rook cross d1, and kind of, yeah, this amazing. So knights are very tricky, but of course Gary is not going to fall for it. Rook bishop d1, restricting the knight, so knight can't jump anywhere if you see. a3, getting away g4, rook d5, rook c4, c5, king e4, attacking the rook. Now rook has to go back, rook d8 and rook cross c5, so 2 pawns up. Knight back to e6, rook d5, rook c8 and f5, attacking the knight. And Vichy goes for the rook c4 check, king e3 and knight c5, but Garry is just in a very good position. In here g5, rook c1, attacking the bishop, but Garry just rook d6, making the net around the king, so the king can't accept from anyways, and will start giving checks to the king. b3, bishop cross b. No, this was not played, but after this rook move, Vichy resigns the game, and Garry won this amazing game by Garry. Amazing attack by Garry, and what a positional, what the understanding of the game, and great comeback from the Garry, as he lost in the previous round, but he come back even stronger this in this round. So that was the game number 10, and hope you like it. Leave a like, share and subscribe. Hope to catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.